Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and thank you for joining us for Strategic Crossroads, the US elections' impact on Malaysia's growth trajectory, proudly organized by Bursa Malaysia in media partnership with BFM Media. I invite all our delegates to take their seats and because we will be starting our next session very, very shortly. Before we begin the next panel, once again, we'll be taking questions via Slido. Go over to slido.com or scan the QR code in front of us and input the code 3971256. If you're having any connectivity problems, we do have a Wi-Fi network here for the guests. Look for guests under the Wi-Fi network selection and input the password market at 1818. That's market with a capital M at 1818. With that out of the way, we're diving into our second panel discussion of the day, shifting tides of US industry policy and its impact on Malaysia's semiconductor industry, an exploration of the effects of potential new US policy on Malaysia's semiconductor industry and the implications for our tech sector. So we've gone from broad at the start of the day and continuing to narrow, and now we're focusing on one particular sector. Now, please join me in welcoming our moderator for the session, Wong Ning, presenter and producer at BFM Media, The Morning Run, and of course, presenter of The Breakfast Grill. Ning, can I ask you to join us on the stage, please? Could I also please ask our guests to come and join us? We have Dato Seri Wong Siew, President of the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry, and Dr. Tay Kheng Chiong, Group Managing Director of D&O Technologies, Berhad. Ning, over to you. Looking forward to it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on this rather wet Tuesday. It's nice to see so many of familiar faces from me, some of my ex-colleagues, brokers, especially those who serviced me in the good old days or bad old days, depending on your view on me. But yeah, and also thank you very much for joining us, the panelists. Dato Sri Wong Siew, of course, a very often heard voice on BFM. I have to do the plug, BFM plug straight away. And of course, we have Dr. Tay Kheng Chiong. He's the Group Managing Director of listed D&O Green Technology. So two perspectives. One perspective from an industry association perspective, and also someone that's really involved in the tech sector, servicing clients now. So as we know, Malaysia does account for 13% of the global semiconductor testing and packaging, and it's the world's 6th largest exporter of semiconductors. But we are facing a new world order with Donald Trump as the 47th President of the United States. So will our position be upended, or do we actually stand to benefit from his key trade policies? And these two gentlemen are going to help me answer that question, and a bit more also. So I've got some house rules, and that is, I'm going to start with a series of questions on my end, and then we'll open the floor to questions. And I do actually encourage a super interactive conversation. I am going to take questions. You can use Slido, but actually I'm a bit of an old-fashioned girl. So all you have to do is put up your hand. The mics will come round to you, and ask away. Don't be shy at all. There are no questions off limit, I've been told. Yes, no off-limits questions. So just say your name and your organization. And with that, let me start. Trump, good or bad for Malaysia's semiconductor industry? Dato Sri, let's start with you.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And thank you very much to Bursa and Invest Malaysia for inviting me. I think what Ning said just now, we love interactions, we love challenges. Just ask all your questions, because if I cannot answer, I pass it to him. Okay, you know, over the last, 5 years already, since Trump came on board, and then Biden, things just got worse. And I think as far as the companies are concerned, industry concerned, we just expect things to be broader and deeper in terms of restrictions, sanctions, and the use of national security. So we don't expect it to be like things will get better or worse. We just prepare for the worst. And so all the companies are basically doing that, okay? However, for my membership in the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry Association, we tell our companies just to comply. whatever the US say, this, you cannot do, sanctions, we comply. Because if not, then they will just come after you. And if they come after you, they'll come after you very, with a very tough measures. So it's not worth it. If you need to get clarification or you need to get a permission, go ask, because you never know that you can get the permission. I mean, in the past, we also have sanctions like this, where you want to ship to Pakistan or Iran or whatever countries that they have identified by the US to be security risk. We ask for permission, and for the good reasons, they will approve. But if you don't ask for permission, then you really get, get very difficult on you. So with what we know about Trump, we talk about 60% tariff and so on. Now, as tariff goes up, the cost of import to the US will increase. And the companies then will, in the US will have to pay higher for the products. So therefore, whoever the importers are will start looking for other sources. If China if China's tariff is 60%, I go to other countries and see whether I can get lower. And if I get lower, then I won't buy from China. I will just buy from other countries. I think that's how the business works. You just have to find ways and means to get products cheaper into the country. Now, if China is the only sole source, then I guess you don't have a choice. Then I think other solutions need to be developed to solve this business issue in the country.
Okay, Casey, what are your thoughts? And to be fair, Trump's policies haven't been, he has talked about it, but maybe not clearly articulated in terms of detail. So 60%, that's the number we hear again and again for tariffs, and maybe 20% on other goods, which might impact us. So even in our case, the 20% tariffs sounds rather ominous for a trading nation like Malaysia, doesn't it? Or are you still quite positive?
Personally, I don't think that can happen. Yeah, like what Dr. Wong mentioned, the reason why Trump won is to revive the economy. Yeah? Okay, and if you increase that tariff too high, the inflation can never come down. Yeah, so
but
they have to be very careful how they handle this tariff. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of write-up, a lot of speculation about the revoke of PNTR, which was signed in Bill Clinton's time. Yeah, and if that happened, of course, it's 61% tariff. Yeah, whatever that import from China, and if China will be imposed with this kind of a tariff, and China is one of the most efficient production engine in the world. Yeah, okay, and if you don't like China, you have to find somewhere else. Yeah, where can you go?
Malaysia?
Yeah, I can speak from the semiconductors experience. Yeah, being 52 or 55 years in the semiconductors, especially packaging backend, and any of the competitors in our neighboring country try to copy that. You think within 10 years they can make it? No way. Yeah, the ecosystem that we built up over the last 20, 30 years, yeah, it takes time. So I can tell you, the best choice is still over here, Malaysia. And let me talk a little bit from practical standpoint. Yeah. The world has been prepared for this kind of changes, tariff. Yeah. It's nothing special in the dictionary, okay? My customers, over the last 2 years especially, I have customers in US issue me a letter, NCNT. What is NCNT means? I was a puzzle. What the hell is that? Sorry. And it means no China, no Taiwan. It means parts that I buy, you have to get out from China and you have to get out from Taiwan. NCNT. So I thought it was only from America, my customers. Big one. Okay, automotive. And early this year, I get letter from Europe, from Germany. Customer, same. NCNT. All right, so what does it mean? It means my supplier from Taiwan, for example, chip suppliers, where can they go? They talk to me, Casey, can you help me? Malaysia, of course. I think we have a very efficient division. MITI, MIDA, I have many friends there. You just give them a call and they will help. In fact, when I call up MIDA, immediately MIDA Taiwan already contacted my suppliers. That's how efficient. We need to make sure we continue to focus and support this kind of changes, all right? But at the same time, like what just now the panelists said, China is still a big market. China is still a big market for me from practical standpoint, almost 40%, all the cars. In fact, much higher now. So I want to be very careful. It is also important that we stay neutral, make sure that market is equally important, all right? And that market still like Southeast Asia, especially Malaysia, okay?
Okay, so we'll come back to this relationship that we have with China, and I think the word that we heard in the previous session was neutrality. But I want to replay some scenarios because we have a bit of a history on our side. This is, after all, Trump 2.0. So first time round, Trump 1.0, many Southeast Asian countries benefited when they imposed tariffs of 25%. And suddenly, the +1 strategy was all the vogue. So we saw tech companies shifting operations out of China or expanding beyond China. The question is, I wonder whether this time round, will it repeat itself, but with greater impetus? Dato Sri, is that your expectation? We will see companies shift here? Because now there's this new term I heard, and it's onshoring, which is shifting factories back to the US. Even though, yes, it takes time, but the planning begins.
I think Trump have already did that in his first term when he said he wanted to make America great again, and he has been doing this, trying to get responsibilities and factories and all that back to the U.S. In fact, during his term, many of the responsibilities in Malaysia also were taken back to the U.S. purely because of that. They're all trying to support what the president says. Trump is a businessman. First of all, the first thing he does, even before his campaign, he create controversy. Everything is controversy already. 60% is a controversy. CHIP Act, he has raised so many issues. Today I hear that they're probably not going to change the CHIP Act. But after controversy, he creates confusion. So you're all confused. And then after that, he's come to the table, when we negotiate, Tan Sri, we negotiate. What is the best thing to do? I mean, that's Trump. He's a businessman. So I expect that to happen. But however, every country will have to look out for themselves. All right? And China will have to look out for themselves. I would assume that they know that this is all going to happen. They would have prepared that things will get worse. And therefore, they are all out looking for a different location. Is there a way to overcome this problem?
Yeah.
If there is a way, and they like Malaysia, by the way, based on all the discussion I have with them, they will come here. But coming here, will that solve the problem? Depends on the conditions and so on. But from what I understand is if you are in the high technology, very likely, I think something will take place, to control the high technology if they are coming out. To use the high technology, let's say I can't sell products into China, but you come out, you think you can get the products from US here, and you're going to use it for high technology application, maybe back to China, then I think they will control you. Okay, they will do that. That is the first part on the national security. So it's not just China, US is the same. Right? They also have to find a solution. They can't do everything in the US because in the business, you have to be globally competitive. If you're not globally competitive, I'll buy from somebody else. So US cannot do everything. And the whole supply chain is so complex. If you look back, all the supply chain from design, tools, to manufacturing, and the supply chain, every country is supplying certain percentage. Although a lot comes from the US, but you have Europe, you have China, you have many other countries, Japan and Korea and so on. So it's very complex. So I don't think you can just say everything onshore. There's no way you can't do it. So US will have a +1, Europe too. You know, I just led a mission to under Malaysian Semiconductor Industry Association to Netherlands. We went to Eindhoven, we met ASML, we met all the suppliers. They all tell us they're also looking for +1. And most of them, not all, most of them likes Malaysia, and they have very good experience in Malaysia. So we encourage them to come. ASML have more than 2,000 suppliers, and the directive to them is, don't stay just in Netherlands. You got to get another location. So they are all out here. Of course, some have spilled over to Vietnam.
Yeah.
You know, so there is a competition. So I think that's the strategy everyone is taking. They have to have a +1, China +1, Taiwan +1, and everybody else.
You brought up something interesting, which is like the export controls, right, related to that. And yesterday we did hear an announcement from TSMC, world's biggest contract chip maker, closing their production of the most advanced AI chips for customers in China. So we're really seeing that repercussion where the US is breathing down on the necks of these semiconductor companies. And of course, these are for your advanced process nodes of 7 nanometers or smaller. The thing is, do you think it will ever come to Malaysia? Because at the moment, the rivalry is concentrated on the design and production of advanced chips, which maybe we don't do so much here. But that definition might be subject to change, right? Will it affect our local boys, Dato?
Okay, I think we have to split it up, split up the whole supply chain. Let's look at number one, IC design. Can we do IC design that's 7 nanometers or less?
No.
Okay. No, we have one.
We have?
We have one company in Penang that is doing it already. Okay, and they have to manufacture their products not in Malaysia because Malaysia don't have the capability. They have to go to Taiwan. Okay, so then we come to fab, wafer fab. So there is a possibility for IC design. So if we can, all of you in the room, if we can attract our Malaysians who are especially in Intel, and now they are retrenching people, VSS, you can attract them to do a startup in IC design because we have the technical talent who can do it. But we just need them to be entrepreneurs and start up. Okay, and if you have the funding, it's not low funding, it's high cost funding. Don't talk about 5-10 million, think about maybe 100 million to get them to come out. Okay, if you can, there's a good chance. So we have capability. Wafer fab, you're talking about all the wafer fabs today, all the 7 or less or 3 or 2 nanometers now, mainly in US, Taiwan, Korea, Japan. Okay, TSMC went to Japan. They went to US. This kind of fabs cost about 10 to 20 billion US dollars. Okay, they will talk to Malaysia. If Malaysia will indicate that I have 30% on the table for you for a grant. So let's say 10 billion, you come out with 3 billion US. Would Malaysia willing to do that? So far, no. So you're not coming. So forget about it. So we will target the second level fab, which is, let's say, maybe 18 to 14 or 20 or 18 nanometers to 40 nanometers fab, which is also very high technology, but not at the frontier. Okay, so the frontier, we leave it to them. All the AI chips and all that, we leave it to them. We'll do the second part, which is also very lucrative, and it is also very good because we can establish a different supply chain. All right. Then we come to assembly test. To do all the advanced technology. We need advanced packaging. Okay. So Intel invested in advanced packaging that is at the frontier, which is 2.5D, 3D. It cost them, they announced a $7 billion investment, US, and now they put that project on the pause because of the demand. Okay, it's not taking place. So the question is, can we invest in that kind of thing? Can Malaysia do it? So we have 4 OSAT. I don't think they are ready to do that high-end or advanced packaging. But we can do somewhere in the middle. We can do advanced packaging, panel advanced packaging, which actually a project I'm working on to try to make it happen for Malaysia. We have the expertise. We have the technical competency who can do it. But the question is, can we get the funding? If you all think that you're willing to invest, come see me. I need funding to make it happen. but the risk is high. Every time you go into semiconductor investment, don't think about 5 years return, think a little longer. So I think that's the mindset that we have a little difficulty working with some of the VCs. Say, hey, I want to exit by certain time, and that doesn't sometimes do not fit in. And it takes a little longer for development work. So you break it all down. There are opportunities in Malaysia, and if you look at the NSS, advanced packaging is one of them.
Yeah.
So if you can make advanced packaging happen in Malaysia, and actually my personal aspiration, I think Malaysia can do it, is to become the advanced packaging hub for whole of Southeast Asia. We can. I just returned from a trip in Vietnam. I don't think they have it. They are trying to focus on IC design, but maybe that's the next topic.
Yeah, I'm going to actually rank us against our ASEAN peers. I think we need to keep an eye on our competition. But I do want this session to be interactive. Anybody has a question for any of our panelists, just put up your hand. Don't be shy. Malik Ali from BFM.
So Casey, you said about this NCNT, right? Why, I can understand the C, but why the T?
Okay, this one is a bit sensitive, okay?
It's okay. It's a Malaysian audience.
Yeah, I mean, to our customers, they consider the T is part of the C. Well, fortunately or unfortunately. I think if you remember the last incident where Nancy Pelosi visited T, and a few weeks later, the C restricted the rare earth export to T. And there was a little bit turbulence for about 6 months. Can you imagine that? And there was a time where everyone asked, hey, how much rare earth inventory do you have? And how long can it last? Okay, so that was a bad experience. And therefore, customers are very cautious about the T.
Even until today, Casey? Even until today?
Oh yeah, we thought it was only the customer in NA, North America, but this year, Europe, yeah. Europe triggered that letter. I was surprised, yeah. And automotive, yeah. We got to be cautious a little bit in this respect, yeah.
Yes.
And I just said, I think NCNT opens up a very big opportunity for Malaysia. We have to figure out what is it that they can't do, can we initiate here? And that's where I think the opportunities are. So I know that a lot of the VCs and so on looks at, even the GLICs, want to invest in companies that are already in existence. But what we are saying is there are a lot of technology we don't have, but we can start. So this is an opportunity here. I just want to put it on the table.
Okay, so let's discuss that in terms of government policy. So we have the National Semiconductor Strategy. We also have an IMP. Of course, this is all under the broader Madani economy framework. And as we know, we have aspirations to be a high-income nation. So, as usual, Malaysia, we're very good at writing these blueprints, plans, right? But the practicality, the execution, as what Anand said from Maybank, is that our weak point, Dato Sri? So when you look at it, you want to create 60,000 jobs, engineers, 500 billion, you've got these nice statements. But what do you think is really missing for us to, if we say that the Trump 2.0 is actually an opportunity, where are the gaps for us to take advantage of that? Shall we start with you, Dato Sri? What do you want? This is your wish list. Pity Tuku Zafro isn't here, but yeah, never mind.
If he's here, he will ask me to answer the question. I think we have a good, I feel we have a good NSS, and also the targets have been set. Like your issue, and just now you mentioned, how are we going to execute? It is very difficult to execute. It's not easy. First of all, a lot of, just now I explained by the supply chain, we don't have some technology. Some we have, some we don't have. And to start, as I say, is expensive and is high risk. So the point is, I've been talking to the government, how can we lower that risk so that our people are willing to come out and take that opportunity? In China and every other countries, when they first started, government helped them to lower the risk. Government provide some of the funding. In China, there's one company I met. They told me is the largest memory DRAM company in China. In 7 years, they became the biggest. And I said, how do you start? How long ago? 7 years. 7 years. And how much did you raise? They said they personally raised 20%. 80% came from central government, province government, state government, I don't know, city council. That's how all the money came. They came out, they took the risk, and they were successful. Now, to start this kind of business, we're talking about probably few hundred million US dollars. Who is going to come out to take that risk? No way. I can't encourage my people who are in all the MNCs to come out, say, come out and start. Who is going to give them the money? Because they are going to, some of them may fail. Not everybody will be successful. So that's a question to the government. The government don't have money, so they ask the Glics. So we asked the Glics. Yesterday I was listening to Affin Bank in Penang. They say, I'm a pension fund. How am I going to put money in? Where the risk is high. So again, if you want to start, you can only invest in company like his, which is already showing revenue. All the other opportunities, we can't really start. So what other ways of doing it? So we have to either do a JV with some companies that have the technology. So we talk about the concept of one-third, 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 where the companies come out with one-third, maybe the Glics at one-third, and then the companies have technology one-third. So maybe something like that. It's different models. We have to keep coming out with different models such that the risk that are taken by our entrepreneurs can be lowered and they are willing to try. Okay, and everybody is got to be happy, because a lot of times I speak to the VCs, they say, I want to invest in companies that have been start up for 2 to 3 years already. How do you start up 2 to 3 years when the investment is 200 million?
Yeah, the sum is too large.
No,
right?
I got to start with 200 million. Give me 200 million, I show you 2, 3 years later. Then you invest another 200 million. I think that we can talk now. But if you say start with 5, 10, there's no way you cannot. The equipment itself already 100 million, so how to talk? So anyway, in my visit to Netherlands and Hoven, I spoke to the suppliers over there, and they said, since you are coming here and you are trying to expand, you're also looking for funding, can we work out this model? They say can explore. So which means that we can explore.
Okay.
So we can discuss this further.
So this is interesting, right? Because it's the development of how businesses kind of start in Malaysia, where it was just always entrepreneurial driven. Okay, Casey, you're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure you're looking at the next phase of growth and you're investing in your Plant 1 and 2, expanding it.
Yeah.
But what would you actually like to see in terms of support from the government if you wanted to expand to... You're currently the 4th largest LED maker, but you have aspirations to be number 2, number 1. What needs to change for that to happen, though?
I mean, I look at how Taiwan becomes successful. I look at China, for example, BYD. Yeah. BYD used to be the lousiest car in China. Crabs, yeah. They buy LEDs and the design was bad, poor.
Not
I
very
must say that
yes.
at that point of time. And suddenly they become one of the best now today, yeah. And what has changed? What's really changed in the organizations? I think the policy to allow expertise from all over the world to come to Malaysia to work, let's say 3 to 5 years, to transform our industry into a lot more advanced. I think that policy, for me, is quite important. Yeah, we need to open up for experts to come. Yeah, I have difficulty to get expertise, at this juncture. So I hope we can look into this area, to really transform, to make it a lot more advanced. And I think another point would be the resources. Yeah, I mean, I liked Anand's point to be more ASEAN. Yeah. So if we can get engineers, good engineers from Philippines, why not? Get it here first. I look at Infineon, my neighbor. All right, Infineon is the world's largest I think today in Malacca, the Infineon packaging, they are the world largest supplier to all the automotive. Yeah, and look at it, they're running out of resources, engineers. Yeah, while we have Unici producing a lot of graduates, but you know lah, not many would like to study engineering, right, today? And we have that problem, yeah. So why don't we share with a common entity as ASEAN, using the common resources to make, yeah, ASEAN the second most efficient engine in the world, apart from China used to be. And I think that would be a very important move for us. Yeah.
So you're struggling to get work permits for engineers to bring in these foreign talent. Is it a real problem for you?
It's the long series of questions, and I tried for 6 months and I give up, yeah, to be honest.
So it's bureaucratic hurdles that is actually an issue sometimes.
Because I understand, the authorities would like to give priority to the local, local grads, but this engineering field is very wide, yeah, different expertise, yeah. So sometimes you need to be more flexible in that respect, yeah.
Yes, Dato Sri, you want to say something about talent or the lack of it?
Maybe I just summarize the points that he made, the talent issue. First of all, we have the number of students studying science and engineering is dropping every year. Okay, you can talk to the universities, the numbers are coming down. My time is very long ago, 60% of the people go to science, and then later on it's about 40 plus or 50%. Today it's about 25%. It's dropping. That's number one. And then number two is that our talent leaves the country. About 15% of them leave the country. And 1.8 million Malaysians are outside the country, 1.2 million are in Singapore. And Singapore have this program called ASEAN Scholar, and they just take all of our brightest and they join Singapore. And I met many of them, and they say, oh, I was once a Malaysian. So, they all gone there. That's the other problem. And the third problem is that a number of engineers that company find is meet industry expectations. About 30% of them, or even higher, do not meet industry expectation. So you already take out all these numbers, 15%, dropping numbers, don't meet industry expectation, you're only left with a few. And when you attract investments like AT&S, they want 4,000 people, 1,000 engineers. You attract Intel, 4,000 people, they want to hire another 1,005 or 1,002 engineers, and like that. Infineon, you ask them to invest 7 billion euro in their wafer fab. They need engineers. So just 3 or 4 companies is already take away so many engineers. So then what about the whole country? And then you look at all the SMEs, they are the one who lose all the engineers to the MNC, so they are crying for engineers. So we don't really have a consolidated plan. So we have already made recommendation to the government, short-term, medium-term, long-term. I mean, we need that pipeline to be filled up. So in the meantime, we say one of the lowest hanging fruit is to allow foreign engineers or scientists studying in Malaysia to work in Malaysia. Give them the 2 to 3 years. That's what US does. That's what Australia and England, everybody else doing it. To work here. No need to go and apply for all this complicated permits. You study here, you get your degree, and the companies will not hire you if you are not good. If you are good, they will offer you a job. Your master's, PhD, you even get, quickly they will offer you. But the process must be very simple. I'm a student, I finish here, I get a job, give me the permit. I mean, that's how it should be.
And it's
simple. Now, then you have the other issue of getting other countries' talent, whether it is fresh talent or experienced talent. That is another process that we need to go through. But however, if it is talking about expatriates, within the company, the Pemuda have worked on a program. It used to take 6 to 12 months to get an expatriate permit. Now it's 15 days. Okay, YB Rafizi have worked on this improvement, and so it's 15 days. Okay, I think we are achieving something like 90 or 95% of the expatriate permit in 15 days. Those, there are about 5-10% who don't achieve that 15 days. Then they have a fast track. If it is just within their company, you meet certain criteria and so on, it's 5 days.
Okay,
so we have
some
improvement in there. But still, more work need to be done because we still have talents who they want to hire from other countries. Find it difficult because of the process steps that
Casey
he
talked
just
about,
mentioned.
yeah.
Casey talked about that they have to go through, and it take months, 3 to 6 months, and still can't get it. Yeah.
Okay. So sounds like bureaucratic hurdles continue. But any questions from the floor, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, just put your hand up. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Hi, good afternoon, Dato, Seri, and panel distinguished speakers and all that. Something that just crossed my mind. I attended the last month the Semiconductor Forum organized by this British ICOM. I think I saw Dato Seri there and all that. So I just brought one of the, what they call that, my thoughts to one of the speakers who are with this CREST in Penang. Because Penang is very near to Thailand, and then Thailand got a larger population, can we tap some of the engineers? I believe many of the engineers, they have educated in the States, Australia and UK and all that, to come to work in Penang to fill up the talent shortage gap there and all that.
It's not just Thailand. I mean, we can take it from anywhere in the whole world. Thailand, by the way, is a black horse, I call it, because a lot of things are happening in Thailand that we all don't pay attention to. A lot of companies set up their +1. Malaysia also have a +1, by the way, because the customers tell the companies in Malaysia, I need a +1. I cannot just everything in Malaysia. So they go Thailand. Some go to Vietnam, but a lot went to Thailand because it's nearby, like what you say. But of course, Thailand have their own difficulties, just like in Vietnam. But our idea is not just Thailand. It can be anywhere around the world.
Yes, Casey.
Yeah, I think maybe one more point is that if you look at our Malaysia's total export, maybe 600 billion, something like that, yeah? 40% from E&E, majority semiconductors. So I hope our education systems, yeah, from beginning, more inclined towards that. maths, and then science, yeah. And then we will be one of the best place, yeah, for semiconductors.
Yeah.
It starts from every level, yeah, okay.
From primary school.
I think we have done a good job in the ecosystem. I remember when I started Siemens or Infineon, we buy a lot of machines from US, from Germany, from Hong Kong, you know. Today, if I look at my company, I think almost 85% of my equipments are locally made, yeah. Okay, whether it's a Japanese supplier, they are locally made, or we have transformed successfully test and tape, yeah, 100% local company, and that's a very successful model that we are embarking at. So I hope we can deploy it downwards to the education, yeah, more science, more maths, and then go into engineering if possible.
Yeah, that's important. I think that sometimes education is the first step. Okay, any other questions from the floor? Yes, sir. There's one here.
Syed Ari from Bursa. I used to invest in Chartered Semiconductor in Singapore. And could you, two things. Firstly, tell us what went wrong with Chartered Semi in Singapore and the lessons to be learned for Malaysia. Secondly, you were quite rightly pointed out that packaging and testing is the way to go for a country like Malaysia due to the funding, etc. Could you elaborate on what you're trying to do, your plans for to be a regional packaging and testing? Because that's
it's not just my plan. We are all trying to support the NSS.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
But I think that's
I tell you what.
niche.
Yeah, Singapore started. I don't know the real reason. Okay, I'm just looking outside in. Yeah. Okay, Singapore started Chartered Semiconductor, and during that time, the strategy was to try to keep up with technology. Every time you keep up with technology, a few 100 million need to be pumped in. Okay. Now just imagine if you're going to build a fab like Intel, for example, which I know, or TSMC, if it's 10 billion US, how long do you think you will get back your money? Just break even, get your 10 billion investment back. Okay, if last time Intel has 80% market share, so within 2-3 years I get it back. Now I don't have 18% market share. How many more years do I get it back? So the same thing. So if you think that you can get back your investment quick enough, therefore you continue investing because you think that you can capture the market share. So a lot of us don't understand the semiconductor business, especially wafer fab business, and pumping in so much money and find that you finally lose, you can't get it back. You are losing money already. Okay, so because of you chase technology, if you have stayed put with that technology and build on it, you probably be successful. But because he was chasing technology, I think so much money is pumped in and they found that, okay, I can't do it anymore. So I let Global Foundry or somebody to go take over. I think Global Foundry take all the fabs over. And you look at all the fabs in Singapore, none is owned by the government. So that's why we in the NSS, we recommend to the government, we need fab. But we don't want the government to invest in fab. Let the FDIs who know how to run the business invest in the fab because they know how to run the business. So that's why we say FDI fabs. Let them invest, but our advantage is we build the ecosystem to support the fab. So you can look at Singapore, even though they have lost money with the five fabs that they have, but today they have 15 fabs. So you see the fabs have grown. Not a single fab has come to Malaysia. So over the last 2-3 years, 40 fabs were built. Next 2-3 years will be another 37 fabs. None have been interested to come to see Malaysia. Now they're talking to India.
Why, Dato Sri? Why?
Just now I just tell you, put the money on the table. We have put the money on the table.
It's as simple as that.
Yes, as simple as that. We have the talent. Okay, we have 5 fabs in the country. 5 fabs. Okay, but our fab is slightly different, not the CMOS fab. We are on the silicon carbide and all the other fabs. So Infineon has a fab. Fuji Electric has a fab. Osram is a fab. This onsemi kind of a partial fab, and one more, I forgot what it was. Anyway, so we have fabs, not that we don't have, but the big current, CMOS, LSI logic fab, we don't have. So that's why we are trying to do that, and so you can build the ecosystem. Once you build the ecosystem, so today we have a Lam Research company who is building fab equipments, the only one in the country. But all the others are in Singapore because they say they are nearby. So if we have a few more fabs here, I would expect all the companies to move here because we are going to be more competitive than them. There's no reason for them to be there. In fact, there are some of the testing development done there. I don't know why they are doing that. We have all the expertise here. So it's just a matter of, I guess, doing marketing and looking at the cycle. When the cycle comes, then they will look at Malaysia. So now we have missed the cycle. The 44 fabs over, the 30 coming fab also over because they have already identified all the countries that they want to go to. So we wait for the next cycle. So we prepare now. 3 years later, hopefully one of them will come because, in fact, I've spoken to a few of them. But because of the onshoring by the US and so on, because a lot of the fabs belongs to US companies, they have no thought about doing outside Malaysia.
Yeah.
The only one they are looking at is Singapore. Other than that, nothing. All right. Then what are the alternatives? And then become Chinese fabs. That's another question Malaysia have to think about.
Yeah, Casey.
Maybe I can just add some points. Yeah. If you look at 2021, the tail end of pandemic, I think the semiconductors surge, the sales, orders, all full. And if you look at the top 4 wafer fab in the world, the first 3 all make money. Number 4, the one in Singapore, lost money. Yeah. So what does it mean? Singapore is just too expensive, sorry. I think at the end of the day, it's efficiency. And I think Malaysia, we have that kind of talented pools. We just need to get it right, set up correctly, make sure we have the best efficient system to run it. I think this is an important point.
I just want to qualify one point just now. I tell you, I put money on the table. That is the most direct way. Because there are many other indirect ways that we can do to attract them, not necessarily pure money. I think there are other things that we can do to attract them. So, packaging and testing is like this, okay? To do okay, this is I've talked to many companies in Malaysia, especially our Malaysian companies, 4OZ. I said, why don't you go into advanced packaging? I said, it's coming. Today, they have it in Taiwan. They have it in the US, Korea. I think these are the countries. Many countries say that they have advanced packaging, but it's not. They call it advanced packaging, but it has been done 30 years ago. But now we are talking about the newer advanced packaging. To do this, I have spoken to them, it will take at least 60 to 80 million US dollars to do it. So the issue is, when the company wants to do it, they go and talk to their customers. Would you want to let me do your products? And the customer says, show me your technology. Zero, no technology. Then they present it to the bot. Bot says, show me your customers. So forever like that, ding dong, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. And then time passed by. Suddenly, 3 years later, everybody is already in. You are too late. Okay, so only the MNCs can do it. Okay, because they have the muscle power, they will do it. If you want Malaysian companies become global champions, like what we say, we want generate 10 global champions or 10 companies in IC design and advanced packaging, something needs to happen. So we are looking for solutions. So maybe at the side we can talk some more.
Yeah, I think I can add on a little bit points here. For my practical experience, for example, with BMW, they approach us to do some advanced packaging where ICs is integrated into the LEDs. And to be honest, we do not know how to do ICs. But because they approach the big player, the German big player, and the player say, no, it can't work. So they decline the project. And BMW came and see us. And we say, yes, we will do. So on the flight, going back from Germany to Malaysia, I asked my guy, do you know how to do it? He said, no, I don't know how to do it. And that was 2015, to be honest. And the first car, iX launched in 2020, all the LEDs, the smart LEDs, all from us,
So how did you all find out?
So we need to, of course, funding, like what Dato Seri mentioned, that is important. But having 50 over years experience in the back-end packaging, I think we can always get people, So we employ those from different multinational company, pay them money, get them in, get expertise in the IC, and today we have, even in China, we have 7 people in the IC design, So we can do it, but we need a lot of support, that's for sure.
Yeah. Any questions from the floor? Yes, sir.
I'm Wong here from LG Capital. It's probably a question for Dato Sri. You talked about IC designs and all, onshoring IC designs here in Malaysia. How far has the Selangor IC design park, the one that was announced earlier this year, play into all those plans that you talk about?
Actually, I don't know all the details. This is what I heard. If I'm wrong, I say apologies to SIDEC, Puchong. They have told me that they now have 6 companies, attracted 6 companies into Puchong for IC design, the Selangor IC Design Center. And they tell me that it is full already. So, Penang took, I don't know how many years to get to this status, but they are already full. They have 14 already signed up, ready to come in. So they are working with them. And they have another 14, 6, another 20 or 30 of inquiries. Okay. Then I heard it from Saudi Arabia. Okay, the guy who's advisor to Saudi Arabia, his name is Navid. He used to be with the same company as me. He's in design, I'm in manufacturing. And he said that he is helping Saudi. And in 3 months, when they announced what Saudi wants to do to become the semiconductor hub, there are 60 companies, inquiries, half of them from US. So they must be giving a lot of money, I think, for them to come to Saudi to do design. Now, you must understand that in design, it's not new. I started the first design center in 1990s in Malaysia, in Penang. Today, we have, if I don't add Puchong, just whatever we have in Malaysia, we have somewhere between 25 to 30. Okay, our numbers vary because some people say it's 28, some say 30, my count is 25, but all this need to be validated because some company call themselves IC Design Center, IC Design companies, but actually they don't do IC design. They outsource to somebody else to do IC design. So I don't count them. Some people count them. But anyway, let's say we have 25. In that 25, we have 7,000 engineers in there, more than 7,000. So we actually have quite a sizable capability in the country. Just nobody talks about it. And out of that 25, I think 24 are in, not 24, 21 are in Penang. 2 are outside, and then the other 2, I don't consider it as so-called part of the design center because it is Sarawak Design Center and MIMOS, this more government. So if you talk about the private sector, Penang has a very sizable design community and is actually growing. And I don't think people know also. They are all growing by a lot of numbers every year. So that's why when we talk about IC design engineers, most of the companies only look at if you are CGPA of 3.5 and above, I talk to you. If you are below, don't talk to me. So if I look at the whole country, let's say 20 public universities, how many are 3.5 and above? You are competing with the other subsector of the semiconductor industry as well, packaging and so on. They also want high grades. How? Private institutes, how many are 3.5 and above? So you're talking about, if you really want to grow this, you have to put in effort to bring in talent from, top-tier talent from globally. If you want to play in this game, you got to bring in. Now, the issue of the government is this will deprive Malaysian engineers of a job. So I already told you we don't have enough engineers. In fact, this will create more jobs for the country. So I proposed to the Prime Minister, in fact, he was in Kulim. I said, if you're so concerned, why don't we do 1 to 3? And for every 3 Malaysian, you hire 1 foreign engineer, you're allowed. You know, maybe for the SMEs, the number may change, but for the bigger companies, I think at least you have some and then get going. Because if you look back into US, during the design, when they were doing the early days of design, even today, at least 70% of the engineers are even higher are foreign engineers who become Malaysians, become Americans. China also tell me that they don't have enough IC design engineers. They are also importing from overseas to help them.
Yeah. Can we talk about China? We haven't really talked about them. And earlier on, there was this whole session about neutrality and how we maintain that. And I think increasingly, our exports to China are going up. Is there a possibility that as we increase our exports, China, this NC thing, comes into prominence? Does that worry you, Casey? And at the same time, we want to grow that market, right?
Yeah.
How significant of a market can it be?
To be honest, the China companies, our customers in China, all the automotive, they like us a lot. And whenever they come to Malaysia, and they always tell me, he say, wow, he's surprised that Malaysian can speak Mandarin. You know? He say, I think he never seen a country that has one of the best education system that allow population, some population to speak Mandarin, speak good English, and so on. So I think this is one of the strengths. Okay, why? I have one customer that has a factory in Bandung, in Jakarta, and they came and talked to us. They want to move it to Malaysia. And I asked them why. He said, of course, infrastructure is kind of challenging there. Second, they find that communication is so much easier when they come to Malaysia. So I think we continue to be neutral in this way, be friend through all this important region, allow us to continue to grow together.
Can I just add? I think with the restrictions that US, Europe, and so on, the NCNT that's happening, China has no choice but to get out. Okay, they will serve China for Chinese market. They have a huge market. They will serve their market, but anything else they have to come out. So the customers also have to come out. Their suppliers also have to come out, and they are looking at Malaysia to invest. Okay, and their aspiration is not just become a Chinese company. Their aspiration, based on what I understand, is that they want to become an MNC. I want to be like a US MNC, European MNC. But I base myself in Malaysia. I operate out from Malaysia, and then I start growing. So what are the strategies that are open for them to do that? So one simple one is to get out, is to outsource. Outsource to Malaysian companies who can do the job. Two is JV. I choose a company A, I say I JV with you. You know, most of the time when they come here JV, they want to have majority share. And our companies don't like to have majority share. Okay, so if not, then they say, I buy you up. So that's what is happening. When they buy you up, let's say I give you an example, a company value in Malaysia at about 28 million ringgit, but Chinese offer them 40 million. So you would just sell. I'm already planning to sell, but Malaysia only offer me 28, but Chinese give me 40. Why can they do 40? Because immediately they enlarge their capacity. And they have capability in China. They have customers around the world that they cannot ship from China. So immediately they can ship. So they don't mind paying that higher valuation. And even though the value comes down, but they're looking much long term. I don't know where the money comes from. I guess, I don't know, maybe the government helped them or what, I don't know. But they are willing to do that. So JV. And the third area will be they come here to invest, build. Now, as I said earlier, if they build, if you are in high technology, you'll be watched. If you are not in high technology, then very likely you are okay. But now with this, what Casey mentioned just now, is that most companies are trying their level best, especially the companies who are doing high-end products, okay, that were used by Europe or US. They try to not have supply from China. So that opens up opportunity for Malaysia. So that means that, okay, this product, this material is from, component is from China. I don't want to use it. I'll source for a local supplier or supply around the region. So I'm working with some of the companies who have this kind of, policy. They say that, can you tell me, I will organize discussion with all the companies who have that capability, or I said some of them may not have capability, but may have 80% or 70% of capability, but you give them the opportunity because they only have to close 20-30% of the gap. And then, if you find companies like this and they don't have the investment that is needed, let's say you need them to invest 50 million, they say, I don't have money. I say, a lot of people in this room has money. We will connect them to you so that you all can invest and get these companies to have the capability, have their business, okay? So that's the arrangement we are making. In fact, I spoke to the Netherlands as well, the company in the Netherlands, because they also complained to me that you all don't have the capability. But I said, no. You said all the machines you showed me, I have all the machines in Malaysia, 5-axis, whatever you're doing. But there are certain requirements that they need that we don't have. So I said, can you help train and close that gap? And then it need investment. We'll figure out how to get investment to help the company. But you got to identify. And so again, we're going to have that discussion with them and say, okay, you tell me what they're looking for. I will try to get my members and those who are in this business to talk to you. You make the selection, and then you tell us, don't rule them out just because they don't have the financial capability, but give them a chance. So that's how we are trying to work with them.
My issue about all this is that clearly we are benefiting, but everybody also wants to benefit, right? So be it Vietnam, be it, like you say, Thailand, the dark horse. How do we rank actually Malaysia in terms of, getting this +1? Should we be worried about Vietnam, for example? Because in recent times, they've also been getting an increasing share of FDI. I mean, in general, right?
Yes. But Vietnam somehow megaphone themselves better.
So it's down to
they just
marketing and
keep
promotion.
going to the press, come out with 10,000 IC engineers, do this. They're doing so many things. But ours a bit quieter. Our best news was the announcement of NSS. We got so much attention, and we need to get the momentum going, and also keep telling the world that what we are interested in, and they should come. I mean, all the talent problem, I think we can solve. You got to tell the world that we can solve life. We cannot say we don't have land, we don't have talent. Keep saying all this. We got to tell them that we can solve. Yeah, we have the problem, but we will solve the problem. This is what the things that we are doing. Just like the academy in the factory.
So it's the messaging that we are bad at.
Yeah, we are training our people. We are doing all the upskilling and so on. So in the semiconductor business, it is very competitive. It's like the Olympics, it's very competitive. So you have to compete. If you rest on the laurels, other people will overtake you.
Yeah, because I worry we missed the clock again, right? You said. Yeah. Casey.
Yeah, that's why I think it's important to stay focused. Yeah. As what Dato Seri mentioned, semiconductor is very broad. Yeah. So we need to make sure what is the key segment that we want to focus at. Yeah. All right. Just like us. Yeah. We can't do consumer because you can't compete with China manufacture in the consumer productions, right? That's not, our game is not about quantity. Our game has to be differentiation, yeah. The only way to be successful is differentiation, yeah. And if you create that differentiation, you will continue to be successful. So I keep reminding everyone, we need to continue to run, stay very focused. All the more difficult processes that we have, the higher barrier of entry against our competitors, yeah. Okay, so that's important, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to add one point. I think the whole world is aiming to get a piece of the pie. Whole world, because next week we are going to Brazil. Same thing. Brazil wants a piece of the pie. So is Bangladesh, so is Pakistan, so is Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all talking to us. How do I do Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, all is aiming. India, going aggressively. They are all after the same thing. Okay, the piece of that pie, because we are the whole world. All the what I call analysts, semiconductor analysts, says that the projection of the semiconductor revenue is going to grow from 575 billion US dollars to 1 trillion. In fact, it's 1.2 trillion now. So if that growth by 2030, I told you a 6 years gap. If this growth is going to be significant, I need to get a piece of the pie, right? So that's why everybody is competing. So we have to do the same thing. We have to compete. We cannot just say we are already 50 years and people will come. No, you have to compete.
The issue here then is when I listen to two of y'all, we have issues about bureaucracy, we have issues about education, we have issues about funding. Am I correct? Does this sum up? Those are
I think
our
we got to be
obstacles?
fair to government. We have issues of the bureaucracy. However, you remember we have they went out. Bermuda went out to the all the industry associations to ask for the pain points in the of doing business. So all of us submitted all our pain points. I think they are now analyzing and trying to figure out what is the right strategy to remove the pain points. So just now I gave you one pain point of the expatriate thing, and then there have another pain point that says that our construction of building to get approval is too long, so they came out with the E10. That means that from the time I submit the plan to the time I get the CCC is 10 months. So we are doing some of this. So there are many things that are going to be worked. So I think
some progress there. What about
hopefully, I will
education?
give credit to the government. They are trying hard.
No,
What about the
I
education
think
in-
it's important that MSIA continue to be very close to like MITI or MIDA to align all the policy continuously. It's not easy to change it overnight. That I have to admit that. But I think if I look at the team in MITI and MIDA, they are trying to do their best.
You're being very nice, Casey.
But it takes time, yeah. But I think work closely. It will.
I give you one example from
overcome.
Vietnam. Okay, just recently, we were there in Vietnam under Semi Expo Vietnam. I visited Amcor. Amcor is a Korean company. They have the best facilities outfit. I think very difficult for some of the companies in Malaysia to have that kind of facility. So one thing that they were very proud of, that they told me that my water tank out there can last for 12 days. In Malaysia, we don't build a water tank in the last 12 days. Maybe 2 days, 3 days at most. But you have 12 days. I mean, it tells me that your infrastructure is not quite there yet to support.
Okay, so there
But
are
anyway, there
yes,
are many other
yes.
things. Yeah.
I think that wraps up our session. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for this very informative talk about semiconductor. I am heartened to find out that we are making progress, but clearly we need to go a little bit faster, a little bit further, and more focused. I think that's the key
I think
message.
the quotation is: you do it alone, you go faster. You do it together, you go further.
Okay. Wise words. Thank you very much. Back to you, Roshan.
Thank you, Shou Ning. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our panelists today, moderated by Wong Shou Ning. We have Dr. Seri Wong Siew, President of the Malaysia Semiconductor Industry, and Dr. Tay Kheng Chiong, Group Managing Director of DNO Green Technologies, a group photo for the entire group there. And one more group photo once this is done with the entire audience at play. So while they're taking this photo, I'd like to encourage everybody, strongly encourage everybody to fill up the empty seats in the middle so it looks like we packed out the event. It would be a great help to us. So from the photo will be taken from this side. Everyone here just squeeze in this way. We're going to go for lunch very, very soon. Our photographers will be taking the photo from this side. Folks from there, if you want to be in the photo, just stand up, I guess.